This is Dame's Rocket. We put this in our weeds and wildflowers. Smells amazing. Smells amazing. It's actually an invasive. Smells a little bit like a petunia, but sweeter, stronger, more concentrated. Petunias are very, I don't know, watery, so they seem, if I were to describe it. A lot of these haven't opened yet, so I'm not gonna take them until they're more fully open. I'll get more blossoms. This one's pretty close. I'll take that one. I got enough to do at least one tray. I just love their different colors. Look at this one, it's kind of a rosy pink. They are invasives. They spread by seed, so picking the flowers is a good way to stop their multiplying. I've got a few collected over here. I'm going to start unflashing. So yesterday I did some honeysuckle with my student. She was great. We did some together, and I explained I would continue on doing her trays for her and send her the result. So this is the top that didn't have any flowers on it, and now it's going to be the bottom, which will have flowers on it, and this will become the top. This I'll remove the flowers from yesterday. Let me get my brush for that. A couple of brushes. So this chest is going to get cleaned off. Sometimes I save the flowers and I put them in a paper formula, paper concoction, but no, not this time. I'm just going to brush them off. Remember, they're just lightly sitting on the fat. They're not pressed in. Now this will become the top, and they won't have any flowers on it for this round, for this 24-hour period. There's going to be a little bit of debris left from the flowers each time, and that can be removed at the end or between flower changes. I can smell that honeysuckle already. I'm just going to get some of the more pronounced, bigger pieces out that are easy to get right now. Use the point, or tip of a steak knife. It's not showing. But there's a tiny little piece of, there we go. You can see it now. It's a tiny little piece of debris plant material. Yeah. So I can pick these out now between flower changes or after. As long as they're not wet, they won't mold or mildew. It's just a dried piece of flower. So this is going to become the top. First I'm going to cover this with flowers, and then I'm going to put this chassis face down on top of the new one that was the top before. This is going to be the bottom, catching all the base notes. Actually in contact with the flowers. And oh, these are wonderfully smelling. Beautiful. This is going to be for my friend Lisa. Finish her. Finish her enfleurage for her. It'll take about 3 weeks maybe to get something decent. I'm keeping the sepals on. I'm going to show you that up close so you can see. They contain the sepal. The sepal is still on the base of the flower. And these are lovely because they're big, beautiful flowers. They're open fully. Looking through the camera is kind of slowing me down, so I'm going to do it over here and look around the camera. But it's not meant to be too fast. It's a meditative practice. Very easy to get that tail end here with the sepal on it. And the reason you want that is, if it's not clear now, I'll make it clear. The reason you want to keep the sepal on is because once you remove it, the flower, number one, will start to rot, and number two, it won't produce scent anymore. There's a little scent gland back inside there. The sepal holds it in, keeps the moisture in and the nutrients so that it can produce scent. So that little scent bulb has to be kept intact while the flowers are still alive, so that you can continue to make scent for the 24-hour period that they're going to be placed on the fat. The fat, as you know, is called the corpse. If those buds will open, I don't think so. So try to get them with more fully opened florets. These are compound flowers. There's so many florets that make up one inflorescence. And wow, this year is exceptionally good smelling, strong and distinctive. I have this in my Weeds and Wildflowers perfume. This is a beautiful scent to have as a compliment. I think there's a rabbit. Might be a rabbit in. Did you see a rabbit? Oh, it's a rabbit. Oh, it's a squirrel. Okay. It's okay. It's not going to eat anything. It's all right. Vita, it's okay. Vita, good girl. It's okay. Yeah, I know. It's gone. You scared it. You got it. Good girl. You scared it away. It doesn't hurt the garden, though. It's okay. Come over here. Come over here. Come on. Vita. Good girl. Right here. Settle down. Settle down. Good girl. Such a good dog. Yeah, you defended the family garden. Both smell the same. The whiter ones, the lighter pinks, and the darker purples. It seemed to me, anyway. Sometimes one is stronger than the other. The whites were stronger yesterday, the lighter colors. The purples were not as strong. They were faded out with the rain. But I think more bloomed today, and they have fresh scent. Amazing scent. Don't worry about the flowers falling over or the green part touching the corpse. It's not an issue with these flowers anyway. I haven't encountered any flowers that is an issue, but you don't want to mash them when you place them on the fat. Don't injure them or bruise them, because then they will start to rot at the point where it was injured. And then you get a smell, especially with the white ones, you get a smell that's reminiscent of cow dung, and it's called indole. And most white flowers will produce indole. Some purple ones will too, but especially the lighter colors, the white roses, white jasmine, white gardenia, will produce indole when they start to rot. So you don't want to have injured flowers, bruised flowers, pressing them into the fat. That will impart a not so nice smell. I should wait a day or two before I pick any more of these. I'll go back to honeysuckle, because I'm wasting a few that are not open yet. I don't think they'll open once they're separated from the plant. And these are wildflowers, but they're also invasive species. And that's why I feel at liberty to pick them. They spread so quickly and so rampantly everywhere. They grow in wet soil and dry soil, rocky soil. They are opportunistic and they crowd out some of the natives, so we try to eliminate them, and we're told to eradicate them from our yard. They're really taking over. But I find them very useful for perfume, so I can justify picking them. I can pick a whole area and they'll come back the following year. Pick every one of the flowers that comes up in an area. And somehow I'll miss a few and the seeds will spread and boom, you've got another field of these beautiful scented purple and pink and white Dame's Rocket. So don't feel bad about these. There are some that you have to be very, very careful about picking. And if you find a crop of a very rare wildflower, first of all, I never make a soliflore, because the soliflore, the single flower perfumes, it takes way too many of that wildflower for it to be the dominant scent in the perfume. So I don't do a soliflore with wildflowers, and I do not pick more than, they say 10%, but I don't even pick 10% of an outcropping of a rare wildflower. Most of my weeds and wildflowers ingredients are plants that are invasives, or they're just opportunistic and very prevalent. I don't go with noxious weeds because those can be poisonous, but look them up before you start picking so you know what you're doing, what the compounds are within that flower. You don't want to use something that's irritating or poisonous. And you don't want to use something, we don't want to use something that is precious and few. That's not what we do. We want to be sustainable. We want to be aware, cautious of what we're doing. We're trying to get away from abuse, get away from over harvesting. I want to be more sensitive to that. We can do that in this country. We're fortunate. We can grow what we need. We can cultivate what we need. And there's so much open space. We can find what we need and not have too drastic of an impact on the population of flowers. We're very fortunate. We have abundance. We don't have to denude an entire hillside of one flower. We can walk for miles and pick from a great big area and get what we need for at least a little bit of oil that we're making. So the rule, I guess the general rule is 10% or less. When you see an outcropping of a special flower, it's got to be enough left behind that it will continue, that it can spread and make more. Just gently placing the flowers on top of the corpse. They're like dancing ballerinas. Don't need to press the flowers into the fat. In fact, that actually stops the perfuming, the absorption from going on, because you need that air circulation for the flower to breathe and exhale that scent. It helps if they're face down, but it's not imperative, because we're going to create a chamber inside which both layers, the top and the bottom layer of corpse, will get exposed to the flowers. Not directly exposed, not touching, but in that chamber, the upper layer will also absorb some of the scent. I guess the top notes will be floating up, and the base notes of that flower will be absorbed in the bottom layer. So that's why I alternate and make the top the bottom next time, and the bottom the top. That way there's equal sharing of the top note, there's equal sharing of the bottom notes, the base notes. I'm gonna go pick some more after I use up all these. I'll show you how prolific they are, growing everywhere on the property and off the property and other people's fields. The field that was just planted with alfalfa has a huge section along the sides and back, a purple field of Dame's Rocket. It's that time of year. Sometimes I listen to a nice book on CD or audiobook or music. Sometimes I just love the silence, the clicking of my evaporator. I'm producing oils while I'm doing this. I've got lilac oil on the cold distillation unit. Makes me feel good. Makes me calm inside. Makes me feel productive yet not stressed. not stressed by productivity. It's a beautiful kind of productivity. It's so mellow. Even the dog relaxes while I'm doing this. You can feel it in the room or in the atmosphere. So I'm just almost going to cover this entire chassis. Not quite. I'm going to go get some more flowers, but when I leave it, I'm going to cover it because it'll start absorbing right away. I want to make that chamber with the second chassis. So this one was the top. Now it's the bottom. It's got the flowers on it. Before it was only exposed through the atmosphere in the chamber, but now it's directly exposed to the scent in the florets. And this layer, you can see there's some pollen on there. I'll clean that off the yellow. That's going to be the top now. So I'm going to put that on top. And this chassis, this side to this chassis, was formerly the top. Now it's going to be the bottom. So this will be where I put the next layer of flowers. And then this one, that was honeysuckle yesterday, it's going to have the honeysuckle removed. It was the bottom before. Now it's going to get switched to the top. So it'll be resting on top of this one. And what we're doing effectively is creating a chamber into which the flowers are breathing their scent, and both layers of fat are absorbing at the same time. We have to do this probably a few more times than you would if you were just doing one side. So we'd have to do a few more flower changes to get the same strength. But it's very, very close, and you get double the pomade when you do this. I will have more than 30 days worth because I'm changing flowers. I probably won't get enough 30 days of honeysuckle to do an entire Soliflora. So that's why on the second day I'm alternating with Dame's Rocket. So this will be a potpourri. It'll be a perfume rather than a single flower. It'll be a blend. Very soft brush, as soft as you can find. This is the brush that comes in the kit, and it's really great for this. Just gently, gently get those flowers off. They're sticking a little because it's warm inside the perfumery today. And at times I'll have to put the air conditioning on. But usually in the beginning of spring I don't use it that much. Even today it's so warm. You know, this palm kernel oil is beautiful oil for the skin, and it's what you use when you're extracting because it doesn't dissolve in alcohol like coconut oil or other oils. But it melts at 78 degrees or 76, thereabouts, 78, 76. And so it gets very soft when the temperatures get into the 70s. So you will need air conditioning in a place that gets very hot, like Florida. Even in the winter, it'll be warm enough to need air conditioning, I think. You be the judge, but if it starts to melt, you can have big, big problems because then the fat will seep into the wood of the chassis, the frame, and it'll be a mold issue from then on. It's difficult to get it out. It's big moisture absorption and melted fat. I've had that happen once, so I know Just once is enough, and then I can figure it out. I'm not going to let that happen again. So this is actually a little bit too warm. It'll get cold tonight, and this will heal. This will become hard again. But right now I'm doing it very labor intensive. Pick each individual floret, and that is going to slow down the process. So I know that I've let it get too warm in there today. I think today was really our first day of spring. Today's June 3rd, yeah, and it's about 70, 72, and I guess it warmed up inside the perfumery. And there's my stack on the ground. Well, there's pictures of this being done in France in the perfumery where women are sitting at tables, big tables with these frames that are stuck with jasmine. And they're pulling each jasmine off. I guess they didn't have air conditioning at the time, or fans were running maybe, but it just got a little warm in there. And sometimes they would press the flowers in too, more so than we do here, because they would like to get that indole smell, that barnyard smell in their perfumes. So it didn't matter if you injured the jasmine. They had so much of it then. Oh my goodness. So much jasmine. Well, they still do. But they don't extract that way anymore. No, they don't do that anymore. It's all solvent extracted. And I'm not a fan of those solvents. That's typically how it's done. It's hexane and nasty things that go into extracting jasmine. Not always, but that's typical. Hardly ever do you see enfleurage. It's a dying art. I revived it in 2013. Started doing enfleurage. Trial and error. There wasn't much information available. I got some old texts and read a few paragraphs on it, but most of it was, just it went the way of the dodo, became extinct because it's just so much work. And at the same time, probably around 1910 or 1920, it went out of fashion completely because synthetics were developed and we no longer needed to do this. And there were all kinds of solvents that were invented and used for the practice of extraction. So they didn't have to do this labor-intensive work, but this is the way you get the most identical replica of the plant, the flower, in a bottle. Oh boy, I gotta put the AC on. This is really melting. Yep, this is critical now. A couple of degrees more and I could have lost this. It just got hotter than I thought. Well, I had the machines on too. I had the evaporator on and the chiller for the condenser, and that just heated up the room even more, I think. Yeah. So, disaster averted this time. But take note, 76 degrees, 78 degrees between those two numbers. And we're dealing with palm kernel oil. So it has a different melt temperature than the palm fruit oil. Don't get confused. We don't use palm fruit oil. We use palm kernel oil. And it's grown on old plantations. We're not taking orangutan habitat. So this was the bottom, evidenced by all the flowers that were on it. And it's going to be the top on the next round. So this bottom layer here was the top before. It's going to receive the flowers now. And then this layer is just going to be exposed to the atmosphere inside the chamber. And the atmosphere inside the chamber is an amazing smell. So a concentrated exhalation of all those little florets into one tiny space. But first, I'm going to have to get this inside a cool place. Actually, I want to leave it out and not put it inside. Because outside is now cooler than inside. The sun is going down. It's a good time to pick Dame's Rocket. I'm going to go get some more Dame's Rocket.